We are taking a closer look at the Supreme Court's hearing today about challenges to the president's student debt relief plan. The plan affects more than 40 million federal student loan borrowers, for some perspective, and as we mentioned, would cancel $10,000 for most people with federal student loans and an additional $10,000 for those with Pell Grants. Two lawsuits challenge those plans, so the debt relief has been on hold, as we mentioned at the top of the show. Betsy Mayotte is president of the Institute of Student Loan Advisors and is joining us this morning via Zoom. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
So we know the benefits this plan provides for those who have certain student loan debt. Would you explain the arguments made against it, which clearly have fueled these lawsuits that have been blocking it?
Sure thing. So there's two cases that are going to be heard back to back today. One is Biden versus Nebraska, where 5 states challenged the debt relief, saying that entities in their state would be harmed, and also saying that the president overreached his authority under the HEROES Act to do this debt relief. The other case, which is the Department of Education versus Brown, pings on 2 borrowers that are essentially saying that the president didn't go through the correct procedures to offer this debt relief. And their challenge is that if they had, they would have argued that they would have received a bigger benefit if they'd had the opportunity to provide feedback.
So how big of an impact are we talking about here if this should make it through the Supreme Court?
Well, the estimates is that it could forgive up to $500 million of the 1.7 trillion in student loan debt that is out there. Now, that's looking at the dollars. The impact is greater if you look at the number of borrowers that would be affected. When people think student loan debt, they're assuming, a lot of people think, it's people in their 20s, recent graduates. But the fact of the matter is that about half of the people that owe less than 10 or 20 grand, so stand to get their full balance forgiven, are actually over 50 years old.
Yeah, and there are some who are even in their 60s because, as we have heard in terms of the arguments in favor of this, the interest rate can just end up just killing you, and it just becomes this vicious cycle, and many people have trouble paying off the debt. That said, what happens if the Supreme Court strikes this down? Does the Biden administration have a plan B?
That's a good question. There are some advocacy organizations that are already pressuring the White House to develop a plan B. I haven't heard a lot of chatter about a plan B. I mean, I really think it would have to go to Congress, and I actually don't think there's a lot of potential for Congress to make something like this into law. So it's a good question of what the next steps would be.
What should borrowers be doing now as we wait for the court's decision? Because we know that the Supreme Court will take this up today, but it could be months. In fact, we're not expected to hear anything until the summer.
Right. We're expecting to hear the decision around the end of June. I mean, what I've been telling borrowers right along is prepare for the worst and hope for the best. We should assume that student loan payments are going to resume in August. People should take a look at whether their payment's going to be affordable to them. And if it's not, look into the lower payment options and get that in place in case SCOTUS should strike this down.
Betsy Mayotte, president of the Institute of Student Loan Advisors, joining us this morning. Thank you for your perspective. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back.